Good afternoon. Welcome to River's Edge Homestead. Well, today's project is complete. I've put mounted this little push blade on the front of my tractor. It's not meant for shoveling snow. It's just meant to get snow out of the way so I can get my tractor through it. Problem with these little old tractors is they're two-wheel drive, and even with chains, they tend to get stuck in deep snow. So I just mounted this about 4 inches off the ground, push snow out of the way so I can get my tractor through to go get some wood for next winter. Now, in retrospect, a little bit of critique, I guess, on that welding box I used today. It is a $100 welder, which I got it on sale for, but typically it's a $200 welder. It's a stick welder. I wasn't really impressed with it. I am a pretty new kind of welder. I'm new to it in terms of welding on heavier stuff. I have a wire feed at home, which is a MIG, which is gas also, which I use for light stuff. So I've transitioned and trying to learn a little bit on the heavier stuff. You would think the principle's the same, just turning the amperage up. So the other week I showed you I was welding a blade for my quad, and I did use my wire feed to do that. I found it went pretty smooth. Didn't have a lot of trouble doing what I wanted to accomplish. But today with that little stick welder, that buzz box that I was using, I did find it cumbersome. I found myself cursing it more than I was using it. I just found it difficult to use. Now, in terms, again, I'm not an experienced welder, and maybe an experienced welder will go, okay, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, and he could get that box to work well. So, if I were to make a recommendation off of the two different style of welders, if you're new to the homesteading and you're thinking about getting into welding, in this case, I wouldn't necessarily run out and buy a cheap one. I would look for a 240-volt wire feed welder that can do, and now most of those can do about a 1/4 inch plate steel. If you got to get in anything heavier, you are going to have to go to a stick, but or a heavier wire feed. But that's 1/4 inch plate steel is something that's pretty thick. Most of the stuff I work with is 1/8, which a wire feed will handle. So recapping what I would think or what I would suggest for people, I kind of got on a tangent there. Buy yourself a nice wire feed, 240-volt. Would probably be the easiest thing to learn with. Now, I wouldn't cheap out on a wire feed in terms of welding. It's you pay for what you get. Now, my wire feed is probably 8 to 9 times the price of that little buzz box, and I'll tell you, it was a whole lot easier to weld with than a $100 buzz box. They were both 240 volts. They both run the same current, but that wire feed, whatever it does differently, whatever circuitry is in it, that's different than that buzz box or stick welder. It just is a nicer welder to use. So that's my opinion on welders. I'll leave it up to you. So if you're budgeting for a welder, that buzz box was $200. If you just want to fix a piece, something that cracked or broke, and you don't mind learning a bit on a stick welder, yeah, it's probably going to do okay for you. If you want to do any sort of manufacturing or construction or weld together a trailer or anything, I definitely would spend the extra money, budget between five and $1,000 for a nice good wire feed. Some wire feeds have the capability of stick welding on them also. I've seen that. I don't know the reviews. I don't know how well they work. But that's my opinion, and I'll leave that with you. But somebody else may have better experiences with the cheap buzz boxes. Please share that on your website or your Facebook page on what you use and what you found when learning how to weld. Anyway, you have a good afternoon, and this is River's Edge Homestead wishing you a good day.